Hey friends, I'm Coach Andrea Engstrom, and I'm here to empower you to be brave and become the person that you need to be to create financial freedom and design a life that you love that inspires others to do the same. Today, I want to talk to you about the idea of stepping into your identity as your next level self. So, who you are becoming is far more important than what you are doing. Yet it is what you are doing that is determining who you are becoming. I love this quote from Hal Elrod in his book, The Miracle Morning. That book changed my life, and I'm going to point to it a lot today. But it all reminds me of this concept of be, do, have. The greatest question that we can ask ourselves is, who do I need to be in order to do what it takes to have what I want? So many of us are striving for financial freedom, and we're trying to do and hustle and grind and do all of these things. But the reality is that, if we want to become that future successful self, there's a lot of things we have to do. But in order to do those things, we got to become the kind of person who takes those kinds of actions. And a lot of us will struggle and strive because we're trying to do things that are part of a next level identity that we haven't fully stepped into yet. And I think we can make it a lot easier on ourselves if we will just stop and work on ourselves before we try to do all of the things in order to have what we want to have. And it is true what Hal said, that what we are doing is determining who we are becoming. But we got to know who we need to be in order to do what it takes. And so I want to encourage you to be thinking about that in our conversation today. Let me share a little bit about my background. So I was raised as a homeschool kid by entrepreneurs in Topeka, Kansas. I got married at age 18, like a good homeschool girl would, and I had 2 kids by the age of 20. I started drinking at age 21 when a very close family member of mine was hospitalized for a suicide attempt. By age 25, I was divorced and broke and a single mom. At age 28, I got remarried. I found love again. And my husband and I paid off $50,000 in student loans in just 18 months. And I share that with you because for us, that was the first time that we had set a big goal and realized that with our powers combined, we could accomplish just about anything. And I have to tell you, I brought $48,000 of that $50,000 in student loans, and he brought $2,000. So I would say that I married up in that situation. And at the time, I was making about $33,000 a year, and he was making about $18,000 a year. And we did that Dave Ramsey debt snowball thing and started drawing with a marker on our fridge to cross out whenever we'd pay off another $1,000 off of those student loans. And we had a goal to do that in 5 years. But when we really focused on it, and did some of the things that he teaches, we were living like no one else so that later we could live like no one else. And we did the beans and rice thing, and we knocked that debt out. And we also increased our income while we were doing that because we had a goal and we had a vision of what we wanted our lives to look like. A little while after that, I became a business coach, and then I created an advertising agency and built that team up with my family to a team of 30 team members. And in 2020, I got sober, and I sold the business later that year. And then I discovered real estate investing. And in 2021, I became a real estate investor. I took a little master class called Without Fear of Her Future. And in my first 6 months, we did 10 deals. And so we hit the ground running with that. And I just want to encourage you that whatever your dream is, whatever you want to accomplish, I'm here to help you do that. I want to encourage you on your journey and share with you some things that I've learned along the way. Shortly after became a real estate investor, I had taken a day job after we sold our agency to be able to just pay the bills in the house. But about 9 weeks after becoming a real estate investor, I got to quit my day job, and so we became full-time real estate investors. And then we made a crazy decision. We had 5 active construction projects going, and we decided to move our family to a cute little whitewater rafting mountain town in Colorado because we were determined that we were creating the life of our dreams. Later that year, I was invited to become a coach in the Women's Real Estate Investors Network, where I learned real estate investing. And they also invited me to start the Partnership for Realtors. I also, a few months later, started the Without Fear of Her Future podcast with our founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network, Teresa Todd. And so we started a great podcast, and now we get to interview really amazing people. And this last few months ago, we closed on our 13th investment property, and it's a property with multiple units in it, and it's a $1.9 million ARV. So we are going about the business of creating the life of our dreams, and we're striving towards financial freedom. So I want to share with you what I am learning along the way about creating that life and about becoming who I need to be so that I can be the person who does the things it takes to have what I want to have. I've discovered this concept that Ed Mylett shares in his book, The Power of One More. And I actually heard this concept on one of his podcasts. And the idea is that your identity is a thermostat. A thermostat is what controls and keeps the temperature of a room at a certain level. A thermostat will kick on when the circumstances or the environment changes. And that's just like our identity. Our identity, as the circumstances and environment around us change, our identity is what points us back to getting back to that normal temperature. And so if we are creating an identity that is operating at 74 degrees, but we want to have a life that is cranked up, that is operating at 95 degrees, we might start to take actions that a 95-degree person will take. But if we don't shift our identity, that thermostat is going to pull us back to where we were before at that 74-degree mark. And so I'm going to share with you a few things that I learned from good old Ed Mylett about how to shift your own thermostat, how to impact that setting in ourselves that brings us back to the normal, back to our identity. Because I don't want to be a 74-degree person. I want to be a 95-degree person, or I want to have a 100-degree life, right? And so a thermostat, if we want to alter our thermostat, the first strategy is to alter your thermostat through association. And this is why I joined the Women's Real Estate Investors Network, because I knew that I needed to surround myself with people who were actively pursuing the same dreams that I had, that were having success in those areas. I needed coaches that could help me along the way, and mentorship that would help me become who I need to be. And I needed to develop relationships that would encourage me along that path. Because when we're pursuing a new path, if we hang out with the same old people that we've been hanging out with, a lot of times they don't understand that journey that we're on or why we're working so hard. And so it's really important that we intentionally surround ourselves with people who are going to support us as we are striving to become that new person. If you want to have a 95-degree marriage, hang out with people who have a 95-degree marriage. Don't just keep hanging out with people who are fighting all the time and they don't like each other and they wish their lives were different. Hang out with people who are really working on getting that right, because that association is going to help you to level up your own thermostat in that area of your life. Same thing with business success. If you want to create your next level of business success, but everybody that you hang out with are less successful than you or maybe at the same level and aren't really making traction, you've got to alter your associations if you want to level up. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is shock your system by taking massive action. And I love this idea. It's just like if we, when I think of shock, I think of like the chlorine in a pool, right? If you're going to dramatically change the chemical balance of the water, we call it shocking the pool when we dump in a whole bunch of chemicals all at the same time. In a chlorinated pool, but our bodies are the same way. And as people, we're kind of wired similarly to that water, in that if we want to do something, if we want to have dramatically different results, sometimes we got to shock our system. Sometimes if we want to change how we feel every day, we've got to totally cut out sugar. We've got to totally cut out caffeine. And some of you are going, Andrea, say it isn't so. Don't talk like that. That's crazy talk. But you know what I'm talking about. For me, there was a point in my life where I had to completely cut out alcohol, and it was a shock to my system. And y'all, I was not a casual drinker like some of y'all out there that are, we call you normies if you can drink like normal. I would start drinking very early in the morning sometimes and not quit until very early in the morning that night. And when I quit drinking, I had to completely shock my system. And so that was something that literally created a shock to my system. And I took that massive action, and it has absolutely helped me level up as the person that I need to be by cutting that out. But there's other ways that we can shock our system. If you want to shock your system in your health arena, you could take massive action by doing a level of activity that you have not pushed yourself to do before. And for some of us, that might even just be strapping on our tennis shoes and getting out the door every day at 6 a.m. and hitting the pavement and putting in the miles, right? And that would be a shock to our system. For others, it may be that we have big goals in our business, and it requires a next level of attention to our sales. And so it might be that for a period of time, for the next 30 days, you need to shock your system by making 100 phone calls a day. And if you've been making 2 phone calls a day, 100 calls a day is an absolute shock to your system. But it's going to reset. It's going to reset that system. It's going to shift that thermostat to what your new normal is and what you know that you are capable of. And so you're going to want to take massive action in whatever area of your life that you want to have massive results in order to shift that thermostat. Strategy number 3 is stop what's no longer needed. Stop what's no longer needed. On a future session, I'm going to talk to you about a lot of different ideas around what you can stop doing. But I think if we are looking at our calendar, that is a great barometer for what our actual priorities are. And I think just as important as time blocking and putting things on your calendar, you have to decide what's got to come off your calendar. You've got to decide what committees or boards you've devoted your time to and go and say, that may not be serving me in my future successful self. And I may have made all these commitments to other people that I really have to revisit. The other thing that we want to really evaluate is is there emotional energy that we are giving to things that is really no longer needed? Are there relationships that are not serving us well and that we have cycles with and repeated behaviors with that, we may have started for one reason, but if those things are not serving us and where we are headed and who we are becoming, it's time to stop those things. There's a scripture that I love in 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10, and it says, "And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, because my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I most gladly will boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. I quit drinking for the first time in February of 2020. But I went through a period of time where I stopped relying on the resources that I had around me, on the tools that I had developed as a sober person. I wasn't meeting with my person. I wasn't going to any meetings to support me in that new life. I wasn't showing up for my quiet times in the morning to do that morning routine. And I found myself in a place where I was like, nah, I got this. I've got this thing. I can drink like normal people. And I'll tell you, within 2 weeks, I was back to drinking so hard. I made up for lost time, y'all. I was back to drinking so hard that I was starting to vomit blood. And I hate to gross you out, but I'm sharing this with you because that for me was something that I had to overcome. And I share this with you because this is a weakness in my life. And the only thing that I can do and that I can rely on that will help keep me sober is if I am relying on my faith and my higher power, and I'm picking up the tools. And so I know that when I'm weak, that I'm strong, because then I know that God's grace is perfect in my weakness. And if I think I got it all figured out, boy, I am leaving the greatest strength on the table because I need strength from my higher power. So January 16th was my reset day. That's my new sobriety date. And so I'm celebrating with you all because I just made it to another year of sobriety. And so I share that with you because it's no matter what it is that you're dealing with, that you're struggling with, maybe it's another overindulgence of some kind. There is help, and there is healing, and there is a power out there that is greater than what we can do on our own. And so I just encourage you to reach out for that. But for me, it points back to that strategy 3, stop what's no longer needed. And for me, that was drinking. Strategy number 4 is evaluate the story that you're telling yourself. So many of us rely on past successes or we live in past failures. And if the tape that we're playing over and over in our mind is about all the ways that we failed, that's not serving who we are becoming. If we're living in that past of, well, I did this one thing successful back in the day, and we're just hanging out, kind of resting on our laurels for that thing that we used to do, it may have nothing to do with who we are becoming and who we want to be in the future. And so I just want to encourage you to write a new story for yourself about the life that you want to create moving forward and the person that you want to be. You are your potential. You are not who you used to be. You are not your past failures or even your past successes. You are your potential. And so if we can focus on who we are becoming far more than who we used to be, that's how we start to shift that thermostat that is our identity. And as we are focusing on who we want to be, and you'll hear this from me a lot, I'm a big believer in affirmations and visualizations and manifesting and all of these things. And I'm learning more and more about that, and I'm going to share those things with you. But as we get focused on who we want to be and we get clear about what we want to create, your brain goes to work to make those things true. If you develop new beliefs about what is possible for yourself, your brain will go to work to make those beliefs true. So if you say, I am disciplined, then your brain's going to say, all right, kiddo, let's prove it. Let's show up and be disciplined. What are you going to do to prove that you are disciplined? Right? So whatever it is that you want to become, I want to encourage you to write those things down. Tell a new story to yourself about yourself. And I encourage you to share what you are creating and share who you are becoming with other people around you, especially those new associations. Tell that new story. When I became a real estate investor, before I even had a property purchased, I was introducing myself as a real estate investor. I said, I buy fixer-uppers. And do you know what? As I started to share this with other people, they were like, oh, Andrea buys fixer-uppers. Let's refer her to a person who's got a fixer-upper to sell, right? And 7 of my first 10 deals came as a result of referrals from people that I was just sharing this new identity with. And I was actively pursuing conversations where I could meet with people who could support me on that journey and where I could activate their brain and help their brain go to work to help me, make that new identity true, that I am a real estate investor. And pretty soon those pieces started to fall into place. But over my life, I've had so many identities. And so this is some of those identities. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I am a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a friend. I'm a yaya. I just became a grandma in the last year, and I'm getting ready to have grandbaby number 2. I'm so excited. I've been an employee. I've also been a manager. I've been a boss. I'm an investor. I'm a coach, and I'm a leader. So these are some of the labels that I've carried in my life. The things that I've said, yep, that's me, and I could introduce myself as that. But I've also been disappointed. I've also thought of myself as not enough. I've experienced times in my life where I felt absolutely broken. I've been a quitter. I used to think I quit every hard thing and I would just move on to something easier. I've been a failure several times. I've been broke, and I've been a drunk. When I give those identities that I used to claim to God, He can help turn my disappointed into hopeful. He's turned my not enough into worthy. He's helped me realize that in brokenness, I can be healed. That when I felt like I was a quitter and I quit everything, He's showed me that I am tenacious. I've come from feeling like a failure to knowing that I am disciplined. From being broke to abundant, and from being a drunk to being sober and being present for my family. And the way that I give those things to God and I pray about these things and I begin to shift that identity is what I call affirmations. And I call my affirmations the truth, because this is the truth about who I am becoming. I'm going to read them to you right now. I say, I am brave. I take action. I am strong. I get through challenges and lead others. I am kind, even in stressful situations, even in business with my husband. I am disciplined. I keep promises to myself. I am tenacious. I can do hard things. I am a developer. I create opportunities, not wait for them. I am an attractor of multi-million-dollar deals, and I am inspiring to others. I am authentic. I make a difference. This is the new story that I am creating for myself, and that I am sharing with others about what I am developing and who I am becoming. And I have some visualization statements that go along with these things. But this is the be part. This is who I need to be in order to do what it takes to have what I want to have. And as I am striving to become that person, I am creating a new story for my life. And so today I want to encourage you to have the courage to break the patterns that are no longer serving you. Have the courage to change your brokenness into healing, to change your quitter to tenacious. Whatever those patterns are that you're falling into over and over again, wherever you're feeling stuck, I just want to encourage you to take control of that area of your life and break that cycle. Being extraordinary, which leads to extraordinary levels of success, is a result of choosing to learn, grow, and be a little bit better each day than you have been in the past. We don't have to change everything all at once, but if we are striving to become that next level identity and to step into that every single day, even if it just means saying it out loud and sending it out as a prayer in the universe, help me to be the person I need to be, and to be really specific about what you want to become. That's going to help you to step into that identity. Just know that wherever you are in your life right now is both temporary and exactly where you are supposed to be. I think that sometimes we want to rush ahead and we want to have that next level success like right away, immediately. But the reality is, if God gave us all the things that we asked for right this moment, we may not be ready to receive those gifts yet. We may not be prepared because our identity hasn't shifted to where it needs to be. And I don't know if you've ever heard about these professional ball players who make all this money, and then, when their contract is over, we hear about a few years later and they're broke. And I believe that's because they have not shifted their identity, their thermostat inside them. And so when all of the money and the fame is gone, they just default back to their original identity because they weren't working on becoming who they need to be able to step into that new level of success. And so there may be things in your life that you need to work on, that you need to gain victory over, that you need to be taking steps toward and dealing with in yourself before you're ready for that next level of success. And so I want to encourage you that you may be exactly where you're supposed to be right now. But if you're learning the lessons that you need to learn along the way and you're paying attention, and I want to help you to do this. If you're paying attention and you're showing up with intentionality to become who you need to be, then you're going to be on your way to exactly where you're supposed to go. Because today is temporary. We couldn't keep everything the same in our life, even if we tried. You have arrived at this moment to learn what you must learn so that you can become the person you need to be to create everything you've ever wanted for your life. I want to share something really cool with you. I heard this at a recent conference that I went to. It was an EXP conference, and one of the OGs was on stage and sharing with us some things that he had learned. But he shared this statistic. He said, what is going to be the most productive years of your life? There's a recent study that came out. And I was thinking, I don't know, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. This was so mind-blowing for me. This study showed that ages 60 to 70 are the top earning potential years of our life. Most of the population creates more income in their 60s than any other period of their life. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are in that period of your life, you are in the prime time of your life to create income, to create something new, because you've got the years of life and wisdom behind you and supporting you, the life lessons that you have learned. I also want to encourage you that if you're just in your 30s or your 40s, you have a lot of production years ahead of you. You have the ability to really say the best is yet to come. And so if that's you today, wherever you fall on this scale, just know that good things are coming. Or maybe you are right in the middle of the most prime opportunity for you to create success, wealth, financial freedom, whatever it is that you desire for your life. He also shared with us that 90-year-olds regret. And they did a poll of 90-year-olds, and this was another study that was done. And the 90-year-olds said the top three things that they said they regret. Number one, not celebrating enough. Not celebrating enough. And I know I'm guilty of that. I tend to have this like on to the next mentality when I've accomplished something, when I close on another property, or our podcast hits a certain number of downloads. I'm just like, awesome. What's the next goal? Right? So we got to stop and celebrate more. Number two, I wish I would have risked more. So many of us stay stuck in a place that is comfortable because good is the enemy of great, and great is the enemy of exceptional. If we are comfortable where we are at, it is very hard sometimes to risk that, to be able to create something exceptional, to become our next level self. And so they say, I wish I would have risked more. Number three is, I wish I would have left something behind. I'm part of an investors network, and we talk a lot about creating generational wealth. And if you want to create generational wealth, not just financial freedom for yourself, but you're actually leaving something behind for future generations, there's a couple things that have to happen. Number one, you need to determine your purpose. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why does it matter to you to create that next level wealth? And number two is overcome your fears. What we desire most is often on the other side of what we resist most. So what are you resisting? What are you resisting? And what could be on the other side of that? For a lot of us, it's the thing that we push down our to-do list. We procrastinate on it because it's something that scares us. We're afraid of rejection. If I call them, what if they say no? What if they hang up on me? What if they say, never, never call me again? So picking up the phone for a lot of us feels like a huge risk and a fear we have to overcome. But on the other side of that could be something really, really exceptional. Some of us are hanging out in a day job that is going nowhere. And we have to decide, are we willing to step out and put ourselves out there to do something different in order to become that next level self and to position ourselves for the next level of success or wealth that we want. And for some of us, that means starting something ourselves, creating something new, putting an offer on a property that feels outside your comfort zone, whatever that is. But we've got to determine why we're doing this, what is our purpose, and then be willing to overcome your fears. You got to do it. So I want to share with you my purpose. And this is something that I've really struggled with over the years, because I thought my purpose would appear to me in a blinding flash of light one day when I just stumbled into doing something that just lights me up, and I would say, this is my life purpose. But I was really challenged by this idea recently, and what I've realized is that my purpose is just simply to become the person that I need to be to create the success, freedom, and quality of life that I truly want, and then to inspire and support others to do the same. And that's why I started this YouTube channel. This is why I'm sharing this information with you, because I want to share with you the things that I've learned, that I've been sharing with other people that are helping others. And I want to be able to give that to you as well. So I'm just here to inspire and support you, because I'm on a journey to become the person I need to be to create the success, freedom, and life that I truly want. And I want to inspire you and support you to do the same. So what's the difference between success and greatness? Success is when you achieve your goals. I like success. I love checking goals off the list. But greatness is when your great-great-grandkids have your picture on their wall. And y'all know I just became a grandma recently, and so this just hits me because my daughter's due with her second baby in about a week. And so that idea of legacy and the generations that follow is something that just now means something really big for me. And so I want to encourage you to not just strive to reach goals, not just strive for success, but greatness. Whatever that looks like for you, I want you to be great. I want to be great. And so we're in process together of becoming great. So keys to greatness. Number one, set specific, huge goals. Huge goals. Did you get that? I don't want just a goal that's like onesie twosies. I want something that makes you feel uncomfortable. I want to encourage you to dream bigger and then set a goal that aligns with that dream. Number two, if we're going to get crazy, we got to not care what other people think. So many of us live our whole life based on the expectations of other people around us. And I just want to ask you, how's that working for you? How's that working for you? We got to don't care what other people think if we want to reach for greatness. Don't be afraid of opinions of other people, because you would be surprised how little they actually think of you, how little time they spend thinking about you compared to how much you spend worrying about what they're thinking. And then number three is pray for abundance. Pray for abundance. I want to encourage you that if you are blessed greatly, that you are the type of person that is going to be abundant and generous with other people. There is nothing wrong with reaching for huge, huge goals if your intention when you become that person who reaches those goals is that you are going to be wildly generous and have an abundance that means you're going to pass on wealth to generations, that you're going to inspire other people, that you're going to take those blessings and share them and spread it all around. So pray for abundance. All right. In order for us to move towards those goals, we've got to raise our standards. And this is a concept that Ed Mylett talks a lot about in his book, One More. But the idea is good is the enemy of great, just like we've talked about. We can't settle for comfortable. We have to move towards exceptional. And this is kind of brings it home for me. Fit people are not lucky with exceptional metabolism. They hold themselves to a standard of behavior. And so if you are going to be great, you're going to have to hold yourself to a different standard of behavior than you previously have been. And that's about your identity too, right? Number three, wealthy people are not lucky. They hold themselves to different standards of taking action. So just like fit people are not lucky, wealthy people are also not just lucky. They behave differently than broke people. And so I want you to be clear about what are the standards of behavior that you're going to have to adopt as you're moving towards those big goals. And change your should to a must. So many of us have shoulds on our to-do list, but if it is a must, it is urgent and important, and we have to get started right away. So change it from a should to a must. So how do we set goals that are a must? Think about what are 2 goals that you want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. And I want you to think of one that's personal and one that's professional. And then answer this question for yourself. Why are they a must? Why are they a must? And then what has kept you from changing in the past? Why haven't you already done those things? And think about what has kept you and what needs to change now. What are you going to change now so that you can move towards those 2 goals? I always want to encourage you to figure out how to turn a challenge into an opportunity. The things that hold us back, the things that have kept us from changing in the past, those may be challenges that we've faced, but a challenge can always be turned into an opportunity. So let your challenges drive you, not define you. Turn your weaknesses into strengths. Change your should into a must. And I just want to encourage you to love the life that you have while you are creating the life of your dreams. Don't think that you have to wait for the latter to start doing the former. I find so many people that are striving for financial freedom, which in itself really means peace. We want peace. We want security. But in their striving for financial freedom, they are burning themselves out, creating chaos, going crazy, trying to hustle and grind. And what they're striving for is actually peace. And so I just want to encourage you that what you are feeling in yourself is what you are creating around you. And so if you want peace in your life, if you want financial freedom, make sure that you are taking time to create peace in your life today. You don't have to have already accomplished all of those things to start having peace in your life. And sometimes that means dealing with the stuff that's creating chaos, stopping things that need to stop, letting go of things that we need to let go. But sometimes it also means just taking time to enjoy life, taking time to enjoy where you're at right now and the relationships that are important to you. Because if we don't take time to enjoy those relationships and to nurture those things, then when we get where we're supposed to be going, we may look up and they aren't what we thought they were. They may be gone. And so we have to take time and appreciate those things that we have and appreciate where we're at. But this is the good news. You are always one decision away from a totally different life. One decision away from a totally different life. Isn't that exciting? And so I hope on this video, in this session, that you have made a decision about what it is you're going to do differently moving forward. You know, I took a trip to a little whitewater rafting mountain town. We were there for 24 hours and we decided to move there. 6 weeks later, we rolled up with a moving truck. One decision away from a totally different life. For some of you, it's going to be deciding that you want to do something totally different. And I would encourage you, I made a huge life-changing decision when I just clicked on a little Facebook ad for a class for women investors. And it absolutely changed my life. Just attending that masterclass has changed my life. And so I just want to encourage you, if that's you and you are one decision away from a totally different life, and you have any clarity about what that decision is for you, to move forward with power, with boldness. I want to share with you the definition that I love most for this word, integrity. Integrity is a powerful word in my life. And because I used to live my life without total integrity, especially when I was drinking, you guys. I was hiding my behavior all the time. I hoped nobody knew what was going on with me. And so now I'm very committed to living a life with integrity. And I always bold the word grit in the word integrity. And I love this definition from Brené Brown in her book, Dare to Lead. She says, integrity is choosing courage over comfort. It's choosing what's right over what's fun, fast, or easy. And it is practicing your values, not just professing them. If this was meaningful for you today, I want to encourage you to connect with me. You can find me at AndreaEngstrom.com. And if you're a real estate agent, you can learn more about the partnership for Realtors on that page. You can also, if you're interested in becoming a real estate investor and you're a woman, please go to jointhemasterclass.com and you can sign up for our upcoming masterclass. And I also encourage you to listen and subscribe to Without Fear of Her Future podcast. Teresa and I share a lot of amazing insights there, and we talk about real estate investing, but also just how to become your next level self. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I just want to encourage you that you can do this, and I am here to help. Thanks.